about what the community and the campaign's about. But even as this go along, just to give you a little background about our Facebook. How many of us on Facebook? Facebookers? No Facebookers, right? So we have a Facebook community, and we have over 20, or actually, what is it, 54, over 54,000 people on there right now. And every day people are always posting about how we're educating, how am I learning, how am I understanding, right? Because people want to actually understand how money works. But that's one of the biggest things. Now, even before I started this, just to give you a little background, I started this campaign over 6 years ago. I was 24 years old. And I used to end up working 3 jobs. I did that for about 5 years until I learned about how money works. So because of this campaign, I was able to leave my job. I do this full time. This is one of my locations here, and I have other locations all over as well, so that way people will come and learn. And this campaign is actually the reason why it's happening. Now, just a little bit of what we break down to families, right? And people always asking us why we do what we do. Well, think about it. How many of us here right now know that right here in the U.S., there's over 33% of more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time, right? How about the simple fact that 39% carry credit card debt from month to month, and only 59% that obviously have savings, right? So when you look at these numbers and you think about it, who's helping them? Who's helping those people? Or better yet, how many of us could show our hands and say, we know someone who's going through one of those right now, right? But who's helping them? So that's where our campaign play a major role. When you go to these little seminars, there's always this whole kickback of a product you should own or some fancy investment. Or they tell you, put your money in Bitcoin, right? That's the new trend now, right? But my thing is this, any product can make you money. But until you understand how to build wealth the right way and build from a foundation up, you will always try to find the next best thing. So the biggest thing that we focus on is the fundamentals, how to build a financial foundation. So the financial foundation that we focus on telling people is how to create it, and it starts with putting together proper protection. Now, why you must put together proper protection? You gotta think about the disability. What if you get disabled? Do we have something in place for that? What if you get sick? Do you have the right health care plan? And what if you prematurely die? Do you have all the things that you're gonna need after that, right? Because you gotta think about, do you have a will? All of these things are questions that we gotta ask ourselves so that we can secure the foundation, right? The next thing is managing our debt. Because that interest on debt is the reason why we stay in debt. But we never understand how to get out of debt. So we teach families how to get out of debt without jumping just to a consolidation, right? Because that's the first thing we do. We want to look for somebody to consolidate it and get rid of the debt for us, right? But we teach you how to do it and build your credit at the same time. We also show you create an emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months. Right? But then again, people will say, well, Ken, how do I create an emergency fund if I'm living paycheck to paycheck or if I'm struggling or whatever the case may be, right? Or do you know how much emergency fund is needed in the right places? Then the right thing comes down to investment. Now we're talking about investment. What is the right investments, right? Because here's the thing. Think about the fact that when they teach us about this financial foundation, let me show you how they have got us to do it backwards. You go to something or you got a financial advisor or you meet someone that's in the financial industry, they tell you, put your money in these stocks, put your money here, right? Now you put your money in there and your money's tied up now, it's locked in, right? Now the emergency happened. What's the first thing you use for those emergency? It starts with a C, credit cards. You use those credit cards, right? Now when you use those credit cards, what's that put you into? Debt. And now that you're in debt, now what happened to you? You have no money to put together the protection because now you call on and you're like, oh man, I need to put these things in place, but your money's already tied up in the investment, right? Then if you do take the money, you got to take your money in a loan. Imagine that. So then what we do when we sit down with families, we break down to them what is called the wealth formula. You ever hear they say rich people get rich and they say the rich keep getting richer? You ever see a rich person could go broke? Literally, you see them file bankruptcy, but next couple of years you see them rich again? It's because they know how to do it. You could take their wealth away from them 1,000,000 times over to get a new wealth. Right? I once hear a quote. I read a quote, and he says that the richest man in the world could give everybody on this planet $1 billion, and they all go broke in 5 years. All of them. Because you know what they'll do? They go buy the big house, the fancy car, they do everything to spend. But they never learn how to make the money work for them. So when we sit down with families, we teach them this thing called the wealth formula, where they gotta learn about money, They got to understand how time, rate of return, they got to understand how inflation and tax is going to take away from their money, and that is the result of wealth. What if I joke around right now, right? And not even joke, it's real life. If I said that everybody in this room is wealthy, would you believe me? Who believe me that they're wealthy right now?
Oh.
You will?
No.
No?
No.
You want me to tell you why every one of you are wealthy?
Okay.
Every one of you are wealthy. And for this reason, you have life. That's the first wealth. The second wealth is time, right? But the wealth, when I say wealthy here, you know why you said you weren't wealthy? It's because the wealth that you want to have is to give you the lifestyle you desire. But because you don't have the wealth right now to give you the lifestyle you desire, you say that you're not wealthy. But we are wealthy if we really truly look at what is real wealth, right? But the thing is this, I want to get people to where we can all say, yes, money's not an issue. I like that. Give me 3, right? And that's the goal for everybody, because that's why we came to America. That's why we came to the land of opportunity, right? So then it's come down to this part. We got to have money talks. We got to have money talks with our kids. We got to have money talks with our grandkids. We got to have money talk with ourselves. This have to become a norm, right? When we're around the table, money talks. So one of the things that Warren Buffett says, he says, don't save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after you save. You know how many times we spend things and we're like, oh, let me put the $100 here now, yeah? But what if we could have saved the $300 and spent $100, right? It was a much bigger deal. But the thing is that we never look at it and think, oh, I'll make it back next week. I'll put in overtime, right? And then what happened? Uncle Sam hit us on tax because there's no overtime get taxed, right? So here's the thing. My entire conversation is going to be about this, wealth formula. So when you break it down, let's talk about the money, because that's the first thing on the wealth formula, right? So here's the concept that we must learn. For us to find the money, people must get in this idea of paying themselves first. We tell people to let them save 5 to 10% of their income, save 15% or more. You got to start treating yourself like a bill. Just like you can pay the cable man, the mortgage man, the car note man. When did you get paid for working enough hours in this week? When did you pay yourself? We paid everybody on time. Everybody got their money on time, but when did you get it? Right? Because that's your future money. So when you think about you paying yourself, think about paying for your future, right? Your retirement, your goals. So these small changes will result in big money for us. So that's why we talk about the idea of even saving $10 a day. May not look like a lot, be honest. How many of us could spend $10 a day? Easily. Easily. And I'm not even talking about on gas. I'm just talking about on day-to-day spending. 2 cups of Starbucks, that's more than $10. Right? But then Dunkin' Donuts add up, here and there adds up. And if you have kids, oh, you're in trouble.
But you two are telling people about $10 a day. Isn't that an insult?
What, to save $10 a day? If they could save $10 a day?
No, but spending it.
Oh, no, I'm not telling them to spend it. I'm saying we want them to save it.
Oh, okay.
No way. I'm not going to tell you. Listen, if it's one thing someone always asks me, Keon, what you trying to convince me to do? I'm trying to convince you to save. Save, save, save. Save. You ever watch Hoarders? The money hoard, the house, the Hoarders? And you always see that 1-800 junk truck pull up, right? And then throwing out all those junk. I want a Brinks truck back up in your house. You just throwing in money like, hey, you know what I mean? That's what I want for families, right? Because if you did save $10 a day, and you was able to do that for 30 years, imagine this. You did that for 30 years, you just got 8% interest on that money. You'd have over $447,000+. What if you save $20 a day, $600 a month, same 8%? Because right now the market average around 8%. And over a 30-year period, you would have $894,000. So what I'm trying to show you is that we all could have been millionaires. It's just that America is known for what? Being the #1 consumer country in the world. They're good at having you spend money. You ever just finished eating dinner and you literally see on the TV, Burger King come up, or one of those fast food restaurants, you just ate dinner and you're looking at it like, man, that looks good. I could use one of those right now. Right? Literally, you just ate your dinner. It happened to me the other day. And I caught myself. I was like, you're not leaving out of the house, right? But it happens. That's why I got rid of cable, right? But here's the thing. The next thing is, what's on the wealth formula? Remember, money plus time plus or minus rate of return, right? Now, the rate of return, they said the magic of compound interest. Now, this is one of the most important discoveries in finance. Now, the rule of 72 was created by Albert Einstein. Now, I got something that I want you to try as a challenge, and you're going to love that I tell you this. I want you to go to your banks, right? And when you go to the bank to make the next deposit, I want you to just ask the teller, hey, could you describe to me what the rule of 72 is? Just ask that question, right? You're going to know what it is. But I want you to ask that question. You know what's going to scare you the most? You're going to realize that they don't know. And that's scary. If the bank tellers don't know this, and you're giving them your money, scary error. What the rule of 72 said that if you take 72, you divide it by whatever interest you get on your money, that equal the amount of years it takes for your money to double for you or against you, right? So it's a double-edged sword. That's why it says plus and minus. So if you look at it, in this example here, say that you was able to save $10,000 at 29 years old and you want to retire at 65, right? Now, if you look at it, 72 divided by the 4%, that means your money will double what? Every 18 years. But look at it the same way if you owed somebody $10,000 too. Now you realize it will double against you every 18 years. Now look at the example, keep going across, right? Imagine the fact that, say you got 12%, and you found a place where you can get that. Your money doubling for you every 6 years. But what if your loan was 12%? So now you think about things like your credit cards. Think of like anything with interest. You always apply this rule. If someone say, buy this thing from you, what's the interest? And you use the rule of 72. Because if you don't use this rule of 72, this is how people make money in America. So it's not how much you earn or even what you keep. It's the amount of interest on what you keep is how you get wealthy in America. Every bank system is set up on interest. That's why they give us little interest for our lot of money. They make interest on the money you give them. And guess what? They're the same one who wouldn't even give you a loan, but yet still you bank your money with them. Isn't that crazy? It's a catch-22. So here's the thing. We just got to understand that the difference between 10,000 versus 4% versus 12% is actually $600,000 in this example, which is a lot. So we just got to find different interests, right? So here's the next thing. Inflation. Remember, this was a negative as well? Now, inflation, it says a silent killer. Now, how many of us remember buying something that was $1 and you went back the next month or next year it was $1.50? You ever had one of those situations? Sometimes the gas, right? Gas prices. Now, we might have looked at it and some people have said, oh, it's taxes. Really? It's not taxes. Because taxes was the same as last year when it was at $1, right? But what it is that nobody never truly understand what inflation is. Now, inflation is pretty much the price of goods and services going up over time. Now, they say that inflation happens when the country prints more money than it actually earns. So even though you might be the greatest saver in the world, everybody's affected by inflation. Everybody. So pretty much inflation, if you think about it, from 1914 to 2014, U.S. inflation rate averaged at 3.32%. So you know, I probably wondering, what does that mean for your money, right? Well, look at this box here. Let's talk about your $100 at a 3% inflation rate. Just imagine the fact that your $100 in 5 years will only have a buying power, right? Your $100 will only have a buying power of $86. And for it to equal $100 again, you would need to have $116. Isn't that crazy? What if 20 years from now, just at 3%, your buying power is only 55, and for it to equal 100 is pretty much almost double. So these are the things that we have to prepare for, right? Because even if you plan to retire with $4,000 coming in today, and 20 years later at 3% inflation rate, you need $224 in the U.S. in order to continue living the lifestyle of $4,000 coming into you. So the thing is, what we're trying to show you is that you need to save. But better yet, you got to find an interest that is way higher than inflation's. Because then it even comes down to the last part, the next negative, which is taxes, right? 3 ways your money get taxed in America. Did you guys know that? How many of us know there was 3 ways that you get taxed when you need the money?
Yeah.
No?
When you work for it, when you spend it.
Ah, those are different, like income tax and state tax, right? But I'm talking about like on your investments, right? Because what I'm saying is that the fact that, imagine, tax now, that's where 85% of the population put their money. Tax now. And where they put their money? Checking, savings, CD, stocks, and mutual funds. How many of us here has a bank account? Right here in this room, we got 100%. Right? So 100% of us in this room get taxed. Right there, tax now. Then you have 10% put their money in these vehicles and they use them for what? Retirement. Right? 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and these things, right? And then you have where 5% of the population use things that's called tax advantages. And it's in their Roth, their life insurance, long-term care, municipal bonds. All these different things are used. But here's the thing that they got really good at. No one never broke it down to us what it means. They just tell us, yes, your money's taxable, you get tax deferred. How come you didn't tell us about tax advantage? Now, when you look at it, let's break it down. What does tax now means? Tax now means that any money you put in these accounts must report and pay taxes on that money every year. So any dividends that you earn in the stocks, any money, they call that capital gains, you got to report it every year, and the bank will give you what's called a 1099, and you got to bring it to your tax preparer for them to go over that with you. Now, if you fail to do that, you know how Uncle Sam rolled, right? Uncle Sam, you mess up with his money, he hit you twice, right? He don't play that. So then you have tax later. Tax later means that the money you put in is pre-tax. And pre-tax money deposit account is money that you have not yet paid income tax on. But guess what? You definitely pay tax when you withdraw it. Now, they also said that these accounts are known as, 401ks, and they call them tax deferreds and so on, right? But here's the part that I want you to look at. This part here. It says in the U.S., when you begin to take your money out after 59 and a half, you're going to be taxed as ordinary income. Now, what does that mean? Ordinary income means that they're going to tax you as if that you are still working, right? But then it goes on and even says that even if you take it before 15 and a half, you're going to get a 10% penalty. In addition to paying taxes on top of that as well. So that means, imagine that you want to take a $10,000 loan from your 401k, right? Do you think you're going to get that whole $10,000 back? No. After the 10% penalty and taxes, then you get the remainder. Now, at the end of the year, what are they going to tax you on, though? The $10,000 you took. Isn't that crazy? Because now that $10,000 plus whatever your salary is, that's now added on together. So isn't that a double tax? It's crazy. How about the fact that even if you kept your money there, you can't keep your money there forever because you got to start taking it before you're 70 and a half. Or you're going to lose 50% of your income because it's called you failed to take out the required minimum distribution. So have you ever seen a little fine line on there? It says RMD, that's what it means. If you fail to take out the required minimum distribution, you're going to lose 50% as a penalty. So how are these rules for your money? How's this right? Then you got to look at the next one, where 5% is. Listen to what the 5%ers do. 5%ers use tax advantage, which means that you generally won't pay tax when you withdraw the money from your account. Tax advantage investment money is after tax money because you've already paid taxes on it. So they use vehicles like the Roth, like I said, that get tax exempt. So even if I was to ask you one magical question, when do you want to pay taxes? Before or after?
Never.
Never, right? So do you see what I'm saying? So this is what we're trying to let the public understand. If you had a choice from the very beginning, how come they didn't tell us about this one? Why? And you know why? It's because most vehicles on this side, go to your financial advisors, any one of them, and ask them where they make their money from. And you'll be really shocked. And then you do some more research and look at the things like, if you're taking notes, write down the guy's name. I want you to look into it. His name is Ted Benner. Research Ted Benner and find out why he created the 401k plan in 1981. And you'll be realizing that, why they took us off the pension program. It's because we're living too long. We're not dying anymore, right? So how about this one? Can you build wealth? Now, based on the information I just showed you, do you feel that you can build wealth if you took the time to learn about finance? Right? Anything is possible if you're willing to learn it, right? So that's why I always answer that question. Yes, of course you can build wealth. You just got to know the rules of the game. Because many of us is playing the game we don't know the rules to. Because no one didn't teach us them. So one of the good news that I have for everybody, we're living longer. Because even if you want to die, they have technologies and pills to keep us alive. No matter what, even if you want to die, you can't even die in peace nowadays. Right? So when you look at it, think about the fact that when we break it down, money plus time plus rate of return minus inflation minus tax equal wealth. All we're trying to say is that money, number one, spend less, save more. That's all we're trying to encourage you to do. And then number two, when it comes to time, we want you to invest your money long enough. You can't be one of those emotional investors. You're in when it's hot, you're out when it's down, right? Because then sometimes you ever hear they say, don't not sell when it's low. You sell when it's high and you buy low, right? Because most of us come out when they hit the market. Oh, the market crashed, I'm out of here. No, when it's hot, you sell, all right? So here's the thing. Number three, when it comes to the rate of return, this says that the rate of return is what? Very important. So the right kind of interest on your money is more important. And then as far as inflation, it says here, you got to put your money where you have a higher rate of return than what inflation is. And last, taxes. Look for vehicles that give you tax advantage. So when you come down to it, now you understand what tax advantage really truly mean now. And then as you look over here, these 4 questions. We ask families these 4 simple questions. Wherever you're putting your money right now, how many of us can answer yes, yes to all 4 of these questions? Can you answer yes to, can it potentially grow to achieve your goal? Can you answer yes to, is it safe enough? Can you answer yes to, does it have tax advantage and does it have proper protection? These are questions that we must be able to answer yes to all at the same time. Because if we can't, that's why we sit down with families and guide them and show them how can they say yes to all 4 of these questions. Now the good thing is, when it comes to retirement, by show of hand, how many of us know when we want to retire by? Well, like, do you have an age already?
I'd like to retire now.
No. How about like yesterday, right? So because of this, we always hear this number though. What's the number that we've hear the public try to sell us on? 60, 60, right? 65. You know, I heard this one lady the other day came in here and said 72. I was like, I was like, who sold you that one, right? I don't know about that. 72, I'm trying to be on the beach laid up and drinking something.
Let me ask you a question going back to this 401k thing that you
Yeah.
just went through. There's some 401k that they would only give you like your money, like 50% of it, if you're going to invest it back in doing certain things there. Because I'm in 401k.
Uh-huh.
And if I try to get a loan from them, I got to tell them what I'm going to do with it. And there's a few exceptions that they would give me the money.
Correct.
Because I don't meet the age yet where I could like just draw it out like that.
Right. And you still have to pay taxes. It's just that they won't give you that penalty, the early withdrawal penalty.
Okay, so even if I draw it out to invest in something here, let's say like a property.
Right. Then that's an exception.
Oh, that's an exception.
Right,
So,
like first homeowner or hardship, like someone passed away, or like the child got to go to college. You go.
suppose you're not a first homeowner, but you just want to buy another house.
Then you have to go by their rules.
Okay.
It says their rules, and if they approve it, then they will allow it. That's what I'm saying. It's based on what they think is based on their rules, and every company is different.
I got you.
Right? It's not like everybody across the board, but I know across the board it's hardship, college, and first home.
Yeah, that's what they.
But every company has a whole bunch of rules, and that's the crazy part. Like it's ridiculous. It's your money. Why should you have rules for your money? So now, one of the things about when it plans for your retirement and putting together the right kind of plan for yourself, like how many of us here, if I was to ask and someone say, oh, you need to have life insurance. You ever hear people come to you and talk about you need to have life insurance?
Mm-hmm.
How they know, how you know how much you need to have? Because some people come to you, oh, you need $1 million life insurance. Why do I need $1 million? Who sent you? You know, you didn't know how to check that. So one of the things that we use is this 10-20 formula, even when it comes to retirement. Because what the 10-20 formula does, it lets you identify how much insurance do you need, but also how much you need to have in place for your retirement. So what they're saying is that 10 times your income is what you need to have in place as far as insurance coverage wise, right? Mm-hmm. But even when you use the dime method, that's another way to also break down how much coverage you need. The next thing is you got to learn about how much money that you need for retirement, which is about 20 times average. And you know what they're basing that off of? They're basing it off if you retire at 65, because the average person live up until about 85 years old.
Life expectancy.
Right. So if you retire earlier than 65, then you may need more than 20 times. But then again, how much of that is 20 times your annual income, right? And it's not the net, it's gross, because you got to keep up with inflation. You can't just want to do the 20 times your net. You got to do 20 times your gross due to inflation to keep up. So that's what pretty much the example covered there. So one of the good things, as I'm coming up to a wrap, is pretty much that we just ask simple question. Do you feel like money controls you, right? Or do you control your money? Because in our workshops, that's what we provide families with, access to come and learn about finance. And in workshop 1, we're going to teach everybody about how to increase their cash flow, how to manage their debt. And then in workshop 2, we teach them how to build a financial foundation and put together proper protection. And then also in workshop 3, they come and learn about how to build wealth and how asset accumulation happens throughout the series. And then workshop 4, at least learn about these retirement plans if they give them to you and call them that, right? But better yet, how to preserve your wealth. And then workshop 5, this is one of my favorite, because I learned how to build a business in the financial industry. And that's something that we also teach people as well. So even if you look at it, whichever workshop you like the most, that's some of the things that we're doing for families and teaching them how to do that. So, you know, one of the things I must tell you, like I said, the campaign is very powerful. And we have the workshops here at the center here every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. And we also do them Saturdays at 12 p.m. And we have different series of workshops. Like week 1, we do workshop 1 and 4, and then and they rotate. So that way everybody can then get their certification and make it on the wall and graduate the workshop and get their certificate of completion. And that's
Saturdays at what time?
at 12 p.m. Those are workshop 5 on Saturdays, but during the Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening, they do the other rotating workshops. So pretty much, I think we have some surveys.
Yeah.
That we just asked, just for some general feedbacks, and then I know Odetta is going to come up and share about the great news about how we could become first-time home buyers, right? I think here's a quick survey.